Hello, hello, beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, 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 beep, 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 boop. Which one's the best? I think I like this one for some reason. What is this black bar on the side? Nothing. All right. I created the live stream and I went live right away. Don't always do that. Sometimes I give people a chance to filter in if anyone's going to pop in. We'll see if I go live sort of randomly. We can get viewers, but it might take like an hour. Then like 20 people might come in or something. But this live stream is just say hi if you're in the chat. It says one person's watching right now. It's just to promote Disintegration Street. So I kind of don't even have anything planned. I was thinking I might sit here, and do nothing. It's kind of my thing for this stream. Other than we're going to talk about Disintegration Street. Take a look at the campaign, stuff like that. We'll see if we can kill an hour that way. But yeah, maybe I can. It says 2 people watching. Say hi if you're in the chat. Somebody's out there. Are you bots? Is it bots? Cool. Let me go ahead and pull up this lonk. Present. Share screen. Cool. Yeah. So Disintegration Street. You can see we got 2 backers so far. The thing with this campaign, the main tier people will be backing is that I'm kind of suggesting is because this is for people that have missed it. So and the series is finished. So I'm like, just buy all the books and you have the full series. It's 5 books, $15 each. But you can get just volume 1 if you want to do that too. But yeah, and so people are doing this. So it's kind of like, the numbers, the total can go up kind of fast depending on how many backers. Like if we get 10 backers, that could put it at over 1,000 or whatever. And I'm curious how many the numbers that are out there for who hasn't checked out Disintegration Street, and then yeah, like because it's like jumping in at the $75 mark, that possibly could deter new readers. That's what I'm trying to like power through to like get to these people and convince them that it's worth it. And yeah, this is a Narwhal Presents campaign, so I don't have anything to do with this campaign other than I really like it and just want to help it get seen more. Brendan Swan is the artist and the writer. But I did hire him to write something for me, kind of based on the fact that I love this book so much. And he actually wrote something amazing for me. So I own this script from him now. And I've been practicing kind of a cartoony anime manga style on the side, and I'll try and bust that book out later this year. It's 100 pages is part 1. It's a 2-parter. So that'll be a 200-page story. This story is 500 pages total. So definitely, it's worth it for the bang for their buck kind of thing. It's actually when you have let me see. And I actually suggest, because once you back it, you can get add-ons too. Hey, it says 6 people watching. People say if you're in the chat. Dale A's here. What's up? Dale A says, if you want something new and different, get this. Yeah, it definitely is like that. That's kind of my style, the stuff I gravitate towards and like, and I kind of dabble in that myself, creativity wise. But Dale A, I got a feeling you have probably already backed the entire series, so thank you. And yeah, whatever. But what was I gonna say? Let's see if I can get. Yeah. So here, this is actually 6. So the main series is 5, and you don't really need the bonus book. This is like flashbacks, backstory, lore, spin-off. I'd say it's a spin-off. It's actually not, like, because if it was super necessary, you'd say it was a 6-volume story and you should just get this too. But this is Beauty number 1 and 2. And I think Beauty number 1, that might have been the first book Brendan did. And it's cool that even that book tied into this large universe he was building. But it's fun to see like his early work and then see after he draws 500 panels, some of the confidence uh, of his art is there, and it has something that I like too. Is like the art is really awesome, and it's kind of all over the place. But once in a while, he'll do a drawing that is like a super like traditionally lauded as classically good art, I guess. And then so the rest of the time, he's kind of doing it for storytelling purposes, warping it, being goofy or whatever. And the fact that he can draw really good when he wants to makes you like trust the art extra, which is fun. Deli says I really like the coloring. Yeah, it's colored all traditionally with markers. Let's see. I'll throw up some. Yeah, see, here's like you can see it's like this is what you get. Like just a big thick chunk of books. Ah, it goes on your shelf. The entire story, 500 pages of this kind of epic horror mystery yarn. But yeah, colored all with markers traditionally. Even the covers. Let's see if we open up to a random page. What volume is this? Volume 4. Like, I don't know if it necessarily would count as like, oh shit, spoilers. Yeah, what's that big one? Oh, that's cool. Um, so yeah, you can see it's pretty great. Uh, Paulus, what's up, man? How's it going, Paulus? Paulus Stele, 9 people watching. Say hi from the chat. How's it going, everyone? Waiting for people to filter in. We're kind of pimping Disintegration Street for about an hour here. Um, how do I even do this? How do I do this? There we go. Wait. Or, or. There we go. That's what I want, I think. Um, but yeah, I'm curious. John Snowden says 8th. What did backers filter in? What happened here? Let me hit enter. There's no way because there's only 2 backers so far. John Snowden, did you make me kill an angel just now? It actually didn't reload when I hit enter. What's going on? I want it to reload. There we go. I want it to like. Oh, you did. You made me kill an angel, John Snowden. That's okay. Paulus, doing good. Finally read Vatican City. Nice. Yeah, Vatican City 2 comes out next Wednesday. Everyone's stoked for that. Me especially of all. This Wednesday is Huck too, so there's some Miller World stuff popping. And yeah, it seems like the absolute stuff is popping a lot, which is cool. Comics seem to be doing pretty good these days. Who knows? I think indies are doing good too, but you don't exactly know. It just kind of feels like that. It feels like one thing I was thinking if it's kind of like an indie boom, say 2017 or whatever, a bunch of people come in and kind of start doing their first book. It was something I was actually saying back then, even I was kind of thinking it, but I was like, all right, in like 5 to 10 years, because they even then, I don't even know if you'd call it a golden age, because it did feel like more the reputation of the indies was more true, where they say like of crowdfunding, where they're like, yeah, it's a lot of first books. They're not all that great. You're kind of buying them just to support people, whatever, like that kind of thing. And I'm like, in 5 to 10 years, I don't think that'll be true. I think people will be making like dope shit. And then now it is 5 to 10 years later. And it does feel like, yeah, definitely the overall quality of crowdfunding has gone way up. Like, I wonder if it's gone like, 5x, 10x. I don't know. But yeah, a lot. It's gone up by a lot. It's not quite as much of a gold rush thing, but in some ways that's not even like a bad thing because the gold rush thing was part of what killed it in a way. Like, then you get grifters coming in or whatever. But 8th, and I still haven't heard the pitch. Oh yeah, yeah. That's funny because I'm not even the best at pitching. I wonder, like with Disintegration Street, I'm just like, it's my favorite book in the history. You know what I was thinking about saying? I was like, this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of this indie era. Disintegration Street is. And then I'm like, will people scoff at that? Will they like get annoyed because it's too hyperbolic? And because in a way, I mean, it's apples to oranges to begin with, and then it's in certain aspects, it's completely easy to disprove right away, just for the fact of like Ninja Turtles was a cultural phenomenon, and like Disintegration Street, I could see it becoming a manga, and I could see it becoming more popular, and like be just being a great fun book. This is one other thing. Switching off to another thing is when I did the interview on Miller Time, one of the things Mark Miller mentioned, he's like, I was surprised to see how big of a following you have and you've built that up and people seem to really like you or whatever. How did you do that? And I didn't even give like the best answer at the time, but I was thinking about it later and I was like, you know what it is that's funny is because your first instinct is like, you're like, oh, it's because I'm nice to people. And I'm like, it's funny because that is actually not it. If I was nice, yeah, you make friends online or whatever, but you wouldn't have, a kind of a the people really in my corner rooting for me and helping me with my career to break through into the mainstream or whatever and help promote Vatican City. Like they don't do that because you're nice. They do that because they like your books. So it does go back to like a meritocracy kind of thing. It goes back to like a history or like, and it's funny on that level too. It's Vatican City, I'm the artist, but I think a lot of my writing is what kind of made people really get in my corner. Although maybe it's the art too, but the art was kind of, especially because Vatican City is different art than like Earthbound. Earthbound's really um, impressionistic is the nice way to say it, I think. But and people say Vatican City's impressionistic too. I'm okay with that. But it's funny, I wasn't necessarily even going for that. I'm just like trying to draw a good book or whatever. But yeah, Vatican City, I can't wait for people to see issue 2. I wish we could give like a sneak preview or something. There's a lot of on book issue 1. I posted a picture of it's like the big vampire eating the president reveal page, the splash page. That was kind of one of the big softballs that Mark lobbed for issue 1. Where you're like, okay, I have to hit this out of the park because it's like so perfect, so easy to make great. Then the pressure's on because then you have to make it great. But that's like kind of my favorite page of that issue. And once it had been released, I can kind of post it without it being weird or whatever. So I post it and I was like, the Nards Feast. And I was like, there's 2 or 3, 4 pages in issue 2 where I'm like, the Nards Feast. I want people to see that. And then, yeah, it's even like 4, 5, 6 pages maybe that feel like that in issue 3. And I'm going to be able to sell all the original art in June. So I'm excited for that. I mean, not like that it will all sell out, but I'll be able to put it kind of all up for sale. I think I'm going to do that just through like an Indiegogo, just kind of list kind of each individual page. It might take kind of a while. People can scroll down, pick it, buy it. I'll have tiers uh like 10 to 20 are going to be like my favorite pages, and they might be priced kind of high. I'll try and think of something. I'm not sure, like as high as 1,000, but that's honestly like kind of high. So, but then if they don't sell, I'd kind of be okay with it because I might want to keep them, and I probably maybe down the line could sell them for even more because those are the best pages. So like yeah, maybe 10 to 20 of these like 90 pages that got drawn. Of the 90, like 20 are maybe like unsellable because they're either drawn early, so they were cobbled together because a lot of them were redrawn. Um, so there isn't really even an original page to sell. Some of them, a few of them are like just talking pages in the book, maybe that just don't look the greatest. And then a few of them, just as I was kind of learning to ink, uh, and then the coloring was carrying a huge part of the load. So the inked pages just don't even really look that good. And then right in the middle. So if there's 20 that are amazing, 20 that are unsellable, that means there's 50 right in the middle. And of those, there's like ones that are like better and ones that are worse. So that it might go up for like 400 and 300 or something like that, or like 500 and 300. I don't know. But anyway, I got to price them out. Just price them all out. You see if they pop off or whatever. That'd be kind of fun. Zaid, what's up? Phil, man, how's it going? Jolly, what's up? How's it going, everyone? 13 people watching. Say hi from the chat. So maybe we can get into a little actual pitch of, because yeah, with the pitch of Disintegration Street, I'm just like, look at these books, man. Don't you want to own this? Look at these books, man. Just look. Can't you just look at these books? Jon Snowden, just look at these books, man. Can't you just look at these books, man? Don't you just want to buy these? That's my pitch. Just like feel them in your hands, dude. Picture this on your bookshelf, man. 500 pages, dog. Disintegration Street, my favorite book, man. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of the modern indie era, dude. Come on. Um, but yeah, so I started rereading issue volume one, and it's hilarious. It makes me laugh out loud. That's another. So one thing is it's like a comedy, and it's like laugh out loud funny. Lots of jokes. Another thing is it's horror, and this is like a balance because like you do wonder you know comedy can take away the stakes from horror in certain cases, but this one the mystery keeps it is what keeps the stakes going. The horror not too much. It's not like the horror is a crazy threat or whatever. It's mostly the mysteries why you want to keep reading. Um, and in that regard too, it's a little bit like what do they call it? A little bit Shaggy Dog, which I think is perfect for mysteries, where it does like it is a little drawn out, where it's just meandering and you're getting to explore the town. Different things are coming up, different side quests, if you will, different episodic little adventures that are coming up on this overall arcing mystery that carries it through. And that way it could be comparable to like the way a TV show might be or something like that. I don't know. But it's not I wouldn't even say it's much like a TV show. If anything, it's like manga. Like Brendan Swan is has an encyclopedic knowledge of manga, and he is fairly fluent. I don't know if he's like fully fluent, but he's fairly fluent in Japanese. He's what you might call a weeb. But if there was a word for like a weeb who is actually speaks Japanese and has an encyclopedic knowledge of manga, you're like, he is more Japanese than Japan. That's like, can you say that? Is there a word for that? Um, and yeah, even within regards to that, what he wrote for me, I'm like, this is the best like manga I've ever read. I just can't wait. But the things about manga, like I don't even fully, how to describe it, but we all can feel it. Like manga can be, in a lot of ways, sometimes it feels like it can be weirder than American comics. It can be more specific in some ways, kind of more uh, niche. The way it kind of gets like funky or whatever. And the Disintegration Street is kind of like that too. Yeah. Nail Bunny, what's up? Nail Bunny says, I look, I look. Thanks, Nail Bunny, for taking a look. Thank you very much. Yeah, can we get some sales while we're on? Does anyone feel like pulling the plug on this? Pulling the plug? Pulling the trigger. Do not pull the plug. You pull the trigger. Yeah, don't clip that. Richie Dupe, what's up, man? Pair of the Berg. The artist formerly known as Narwhal. Pair, aka Narwhal. What's up, guys? What's up? Yeah, so Disintegration Street. Uh it's $75 for the entire series. And then you can get for an additional $15, you can get the bonus spin-off book, which is like another volume, like a sixth volume. That's great. The other editions are also awesome. The Dreamcast art book. I honestly really recommend that one too. I think that's just $15 also. So everything is $15. You just kind of add it all up. Check you out at the end. Rip Papping Rico. Don't pull the cord. Yeah, pulling the cord would be like if we're parachuting. We're like, we're gonna hit this bitch. We're talking about the farmland. You ready to hit this farmland? Like square up, spread eagle? Or are you gonna pull the cord? I'm like, yo, let's hit this bitch spread eagle, yo. Let's do it. And then that's when I say that, I mean we need to be backing this at the highest tier. And we need to be reading the modern indie movement golden age. John Snowden, barely fluent in Japanese, the manga. Yeah. So you don't even know what I'm talking about. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You don't even know that you know. Never go full spread eagle. Yes. It's true. In the nude. That happened in what's it called? King of the Hill. Peggy falls out of an airplane. I think she's what's it called? Skydiving or whatever. And then her parachute doesn't deploy. And she she plops in like soft farmland so she doesn't die. She spread eagles. And it's funny. I think it's realistic. I think that's happened to people. I've talked about that on a stream before. That's funny because that's like a little bit of the suspension of disbelief thing. It's actually, it kind of tests your suspension of disbelief more. The truth does. The truth is that people have survived falling 2,000 feet when they land just right in just the right consistency of mud, of like soft earth, farmland, basically tilled earth, then they actually will and can survive. But that's like more hard to believe than, yeah, they just die. Like, who would survive that? But that would be, in that one case, would be not true. That would be the false thing. Popping Rico, seriously, the art book. Yeah, I have that here too. I actually have, yeah, I have everything. I'm a Brendan Swan completionist. So we'll look at this, some of this real fast. Let me show you. Here's the art book. It says entering on the front, leaving on the back. You can see the art. You know, this is so good, so fun. And a lot of these are Disintegration Street, like either development or promo. For example, that one is like really great. Oh shit, getting these up so you guys can see it. Where is even the camera? What's going on here? Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, like see how cool that is? 18 people watching. What's up? Yeah, buddy, you got to tuck and roll. Maybe. I mean, we're talking 2,000 feet, though. I actually think straight up spread eagle is how you're supposed to do it. But you know, the other thing I heard, a lot of it is like your internal organs and what do they call it? You know, physics basically, but it's an object in motion stays in motion. So your body stops moving, but then your like heart or your guts will keep moving and they will slam into the side of your like rib cage and your skin or whatever. And that's kind of like what kills you. And it's something like, you know, like 50 miles an hour from 50 to 0. That is enough to kill you. And whatever, you know, like 60 miles an hour is like how fast a cheetah can run. Did I make that up? Is it 40 or 50? I feel like they can run 60. They said the fastest humans when they're sprinting, you know, they can maybe approach 20, which is crazy. Maybe like 15, 20 miles an hour. It's like super sprinty human, maybe going downhill. I know if I go downhill on my bike, I'll hit 30, and then that's when the wind's freaking blasting you in the face. So if you hit someone else, your exact weight going 30 also, well, actually in that case, they would just cause you to stop completely. But if you hit a truck twice as heavy as you going 30 also, then it would overpower you. So not only would you go to 0, you would go to negative 30. So that would be about 60 miles an hour direction change from your innards getting ripped out. And that probably could kill you. So yeah, just going 30, hitting head on a truck, you could die. Yeah. And when shit tries to get out of your body too, it like pops you like a grape and it just all explodes out your anus too. That's what I heard. Some person says, will this be on the test? That last part will. So definitely take notes for that. Write it down. Popping Rico, what's up? Let me see if we got any other dope art here. It's all, yeah, it's fun. It's more the pinup style. Because something, I'm sure like all artists know this who do comics, but it's quite, oh dude, that was later and that inspired the Dreamcast book later. But look how awesome that is. And the Dreamcast book is packed with that kind of stuff. $15. John Stone and Physics 10101. But yeah, what was I saying about all this? It's just an amazing sketchbook. You can get them both. Oh yeah, it's quite different to just draw sequential art versus drawing pinups. And another random thing, we might talk about this on a creative block, but so this is sort of cheesy, but you know, they call it sequential art. sequential comes from the word sequence. And I've been thinking more and more about sequences instead of scenes, because sequences are kind of like scenes combined, maybe. But you know when scenes combined, you know when that's a sequence. Like even like the climactic sequence of The Last Jedi. No, no, not The Last Jedi. The Return of the Jedi. You know, it's like three things all at once, and they all play off each other. But that is the sequence, like all different things. And I'm like, the sequence, that's the key. It's like sequences are awesome. Scenes are sometimes they're, yeah, make a good scene, sure. But one of the ways to make a good scene is to make it part of a great sequence. And one example I remember thinking was from Vatican City. It opens with an 8-page sequence about the vampires taking over the world. And, within that is like 4 or 5 scenes done quickly over 8 pages. That's a sequence. So it's an 8-page sequence, then it ends, and then you get to the next sequence. And in some ways, I'm like, that feels like the scene. The way I used to be thinking about scenes in a book, I'm like, yeah, the first 8 pages, the first chunk. And maybe it's like beginning, middle, end of that part of the book. I don't know, however many ways you can break it down. But to me, I'm like thinking of it as a sequence. Richie Dupe sequence of events. Yeah, it inherently like makes things link and makes things play off each other. And like those kind of like setups and payoffs or whatever. Um, and all that kind of stuff. Building of the context. Uh, if you kind of just crescendoing? Crescendoing is huge, and that's like what you want a sequence to do. And I read one of my favorite ones in comics is in like Daredevil Born Again, where the girl who gave up Daredevil's real name, and then she's like hanging with Foggy Nelson, I think, and then her ex-boyfriend, who's like a killer, is outside trying to like get in to kill Foggy and or her, and he's like pimp, maybe, I don't know, killer pimp. Killer pimp, by the way, that is a subgenre, and that is hilarious. And there are some great killer pimp movies out there, and everyone should write a killer pimp story right now. Just go home and write a killer pimp story, and then we'll all read them and turn them into each other later. I might tweet that right out right now. I'm gonna tweet out subgenre of the day. The killer pimp. All right. I'm scared to update this because we kill an angel. 21 people watching in 27 minutes. We got 20 people in here. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Got Popping Rico, Richie Dupe, John Snowden, Jolly. What's up, everyone? Thanks for being here. I might update it and see. We haven't even fully gone through like the actual pitch. That was some Amanda on Twitter. She said something. I was like, oh, that's kind of true. Where she said, as a first-time reader looking to jump into Rippaverse, she was intrigued by the anthology. But the anthology, and me too, I've backed multiple Rippaverse books, and the most recent was ISOM 3, which I'm actually quite looking forward to. But the anthology, I'm thinking about getting that one too. Like it does feel like a fun book that they decided to like release or whatever. But then she said on the page for each anthology story, they gave it a little blurb, and the blurbs do not tell enough to like sell the story. I was like, oh, that's sort of true. Like I can see that, especially if you're like looking for a reason to buy. And I'm like, well, shit, I haven't done that for Disintegration Street yet either. Fredo was like, wait, what's it about? Tell me what it's about. Let me connect to the characters. Let me know what's up. But I don't know how that's like harder than you'd think in some ways, like to talk about your story in a way without giving too much away that people, But I had who I call my mentor in my 20s. He was great at pitching, and for the longest time I was wondering, like, why is he really good at pitching? I feel like he's better at pitching than me. How do I get better at pitching? How do I get on his level? And I did eventually think, I was like, you know what? If you just have a better starting idea, then it's not that hard to pitch it. Like I feel like, well, for one, the Disintegration Street, I can pitch it in a second here. But like Hotel Story or Cerberus, like I can kind of pitch them pretty quickly. You just talking about it, is enough. Jolly says, did you tweet out the link? Not to this stream. I haven't tweeted it yet. But yeah. Yeah, so hold on, one sip of water here. What if the stream was just me chugging water and then drinking so much water that I regurgitate? Is that like a YouTube gross thing? I bet there is something like that on YouTube. In the deep dives of the dark, dirty internet. Um. Oh yeah. So here. So I want to talk about this book just for a second. This is the bonus book. This is Brendan Swan's most recent campaign that he did. Now, talking about niche, I didn't think this would be that niche. Like, I'm like, everyone loves Dreamcast. Everyone loves art books. A Dreamcast art book? Are you kidding me? I bought it right away. But I think the original campaign, I don't know if it had, like 25 backers or maybe it was 50, but it wasn't that many. And I'm like, that could get more backers. Come on. So yeah, anyone who's backing, these are all available as add-ons. And this one is great. And a lot of these are like, you know, I think aesthetically, this is one, obviously the book being good, the book touching you. We all want to be touched by books, basically. That's the most important thing. But second to being touched by the book is kind of like the book just existing on your shelf and you enjoying it being there. And some of that is your experience from reading it. You have these fond memories of reading it or liking it, wanting to share it with other people. Interactivity can help with that. This experience you had reading the book. If the art style grew on you as you read it, then you have this relationship with the book. If, it gives you an emotional response of any kind of enjoying it, of the way stories do that, that is the kind of thing that gets you looking fondly at the book once in a while and being proud of it to be on our shelf. We're all kind of curating a shelf in our minds, even like, even depending on your living situation, maybe you don't even have an actual bookshelf. Maybe it's still in storage, it's just one box. But you think about what's in the box. What's in the box? What's in the box? And if you line up like the Brendan Swan collection stuff is so good for that reason. And you understand too if you read it or whatever. But yeah, like picture like an awesomely curated crowdfunding box of like, some of my books, some of Brendan Swan's books, all these other great books that we all have known and loved and read over the years next to each other. Mix in some indie books, some Vatican City maybe, some Mark Miller, get some Miller World, starting to get a little more mainstream, get some other books that you love, some old books, get some Frank Miller classics, get some of the ones that are like this is what they talk about this in not Gross Point Blank, but the other John Cusack like 90s comedy where he's High Fidelity. But he says he organizes his music on his shelf not in alphabetical order, but in autobiographical order. And that's like where only he really knows the order, and it's not even like it's timeline, like I got this and then I got this and I got this. But it's more like where the stories go, sectioning out like things he's putting his own subgenres of how he feels about them and stuff. So for comics, I'm like, oh my god, you totally do that. Like I would put all my Tim Sale books would go in like one section of like the earliest influence, kind of the stuff, kind of what got me like into comics. Even sometimes for Tim Sale, for me too, is like the first glimpse like outside of any what you would consider like mainstream comic art, which in some ways can be intimidating in some ways if you're thinking about trying to be a comic artist, than to see something that is so alien that it's not exactly intimidating, even though it is in its own way. And I know I bought this big Tim Sale interview book, and I know he was self-conscious about that too, that his stuff didn't look like mainstream stuff. Way early on, Tarantino was self-conscious about that, about his work, but that quickly ended because he got so many people loved it that he relaxed. And Tim Sale, I hope that happened from eventually, but early on, he mentioned he was definitely like had a lot of anxiety, like worried that he's not good enough or whatever. People are like, dude, people love your stuff. Like, don't worry about it. But yeah, and in that way, I found him very inspirational. And that was a funny compliment I got once for my art. I've had a couple of funny compliments, but one for Earthbound, someone said, this book made me see the world in a different way. And I'm like, usually writing would do that. And you'd be like, oh yeah, it changed my life or whatever. But this is just like a book that is drawn kind of so ridiculously that the guy says that about the art. the first time I've seen that. I'm like, I'll take that as a little feather in my cap, even though I don't know quite how much of a compliment that is objectively, or like, you know, I definitely take it as a compliment. But and then another funny one though is the guy was like about Nosferatu. He's like, it was so inspirational. I'm like, oh, thanks, that's awesome. He's like, no, you don't understand. It's the most inspirational book that I've ever read. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, the art was just so simple that it made me realize that I can do a comic too. I was like, oh, yeah. Cool, man. That is inspirational. Yeah. Paulus, Tim Sale and Magnolia grew on me, but it took years. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then if they grow on you, that's like a good, like, yeah, they'll sit even more. They get a little bonus in your head a lot of times if they grow on you. And books writing can be like that too. A book growing on you. Yeah, when he says, "Aw, autism." Yeah. What about Tim Sale, Magnolia? I was gonna say something more about them. There's like a little bit of a war early on, like if people this is what Tarantino might have been talking about too. Like if you throw something out that's totally different, not everyone's gonna like it. There'll be some resistance. Some people will like it, and yeah, it kind of takes time, but then eventually it's kind of more or less accepted. And it's an interesting period where it like is sort of not accepted early on. Uh, Alex DRB, who won the war? What I forget. Did I just say a war going on? Of oh, so for I guess in that case, is it like over if Magnola's stuff is masterpiece or not? I feel like the fact that it's masterpiece won, and Tim Sale too. But oh, between Tim Sale and Magnolia, I think they're on the same side. Then be them versus like whatever mainstream stuff or whatever. I don't know. Alex, what were your thoughts on the Miller Time meme? I thought it was amazing. Maybe we can pull it up and look at it. It didn't get as much like attention as I was hoping. I don't even know if Mark saw it, but I'll send it to him. Uh, if it comes up, I'll send it to him. I kind of missed my window. It'd almost be weird if I sent it to him now. Like, hey, remember Miller Time from last week? A guy, my friend who does memes sometimes, he did a meme for it too. I'll give you some context. You got to understand, like we do like some Napoleon jokes together, so there's a Napoleon joke in there. but but I loved it, so that's like almost enough, And I think Emily's not on Twitter, but I can definitely send it to her, so I'll send it to her. But yeah, John Snowden. Yeah, I don't really like Magnolia, but it hasn't affected his career. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, yeah, I'm doing some Magnolia studies. I've got a little system, guys. Dreamcast, 5 volumes. Come on, Disintegration Street. Let's do it. 23 people watching. Who here is gonna pull that trigger? Who gonna pull that trigger? Who gonna pull that cord? Who gonna pull that plug? Let's pull the plug on that cord and let's pull that trigger on these books right here. Let's fall into that soft mud together. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I got a little system. I heard someone. It was a live streamer, and he kept a journal of every game he played and every movie he watched, and I was like, and every like book he read or whatever, and I was like, man, and that's all it was. I think so. It'd be say Monday, played this, watched this, read this. Tuesday played this, watched this, read this, blah blah blah. I was like, that's actually a genius idea because that's one of the things that kind of more than anything else it blurs together for me, and then I don't even know, and then your life is hazy, and that is like a bad feeling when your life is blurring together. That's when like a year goes by and you are like, what did I even do with my life? It was a haze of just reading and watching and playing. And you're like, yeah, I watched some movies. They're like, how many, like, what did you watch? You're like, I don't know, there's like 50 of them. I don't know. And then like one of them, you're like, so I watched, I don't even know. Like right now, I'm like, I think one of the last movies I watched is The Cutting Edge, the 90s ice skating rom-com. You guys know what I'm talking about? Anyone? It's a good one. 25 people watching. How's it going? But yeah, I need to write that down so I know, like, because what if I think I might have watched a movie since then too. Like, what would it be? I don't even know. I've been lately. It's been that was like a month or two ago. I've been addicted to basketball. Pros and cons to that, but so it kind of replaced movies, which is kind of weird. So eventually that needs to end. I will get back to watching movies, but I'm okay with taking a little break and just watching basketball. Um, I told someone when I had to leave, in American Psycho, he's like, I have to return some videotapes. I was at There's a gallery in town that does a arts night thing, and I'll go for like depending any night I might go for just a half hour, an hour, or whatever. But I usually don't stay that long, and so I kind of wanted to get out of there, and so I had to say goodbye to some people, and I was like, yeah, I'm addicted to basketball, so and I start to walk out, and the person was like impressive. No, that's cool. Like, and I'm like, what? They're like, it's super healthy to be addicted to something like that. Like, you should that's so much better than drugs or whatever. Like what I used to do or whatever. That's what the person said, and I was like, yeah, no, I just mean like watching though, just watching. And they're like, oh, I had so much respect for you, but now I don't. And I was like, oh, maybe I should just be addicted to basketball for reals and actually just go shoot hoops. I was like, no, I shoot hoops too. I'll shoot hoops too. But right now I'm going to just watch. But anyway, that's all I've been doing is just, I haven't been watching movies, but if I take a journal and write it down. Sark says, yo, Noah, what's up, everyone? Crenshaw says, I watched Baby Girl. That's a fun old one that I like barely remember from the 90s. I don't know if it's Spike Lee or who directed it. The OWO face is funny, Alex VRB. Try that one. Um, but yeah, you guys, the Dreamcast book. Can I not sell you people on this? I know many of you don't have this book. D2. Do you guys know D2? These are deep cuts. That's what D2 stands for. Do you guys know D2? Come on. You guys know? Yeah, look at that art. It's so cool. It's just very inspiring, very fun. And I'll flip through. I literally check every day because I'll flip through and I'll be like here we go. There's one called Gunbird 2. And I'll be like, I need something to throw on while I'm drawing, if I'm coloring or working on my computer. So I'm like, I'll try Let's Play Gunbird 2. And then sure enough, there's something on YouTube or whatever. Um, there's one called Gundam Rise from the Ashes Side Story 0079. Like a lot of these I haven't really heard of, so then these are obscure deep cuts. You just throw them on. You watch some of them while you're drawing. It's like a lot of fun. This is the system. I'm giving you guys the system. The system. The new one with Nicole Kidman's reanimated corpse. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she does look weird in it. It looks, I don't know if I'll watch it because she looks too weird in it. John's Longbox, what's up, man? How's it going? You guys, we got 27 people watching. Thanks everyone for being here. John's Longbox, thanks for being here. John, are you interviewing Emily Brooks Miller tonight or like tomorrow? I might want to check it out. That's cool you're doing that. She's great. She's a genius. Like her dad. But I realized that when they were talking to each other, when I was on Miller Time with them, I'm like, their level of rapport is ridiculously high. It's the only kind of rapport that two geniuses can have together. Look at I'm just looking at these Floygen Bros. You guys, come on. You guys know what Floygen Bros is? Like, I'm not even joking. This makes me want to buy a Dreamcast and just buy Floygen Bros. Start playing it. John says tomorrow at 7. Nice. Everyone check that out. John chatting it up with Emily. John, whenever I think of you, I just think of that you've been 27 stories or 200 stories underground in New York. I can't believe New York goes 200 stories deep too. I think that's true. I think you said that. And I heard, I guess this is like conspiracy related, but someone said the Twin Towers are like that. They go deep. They go up really high, but they also go down really low. And there was something about how that worked with when they got taken out or whatever. But yeah. I'm just looking at this art. Fur fighters. You guys look at fur fighters. See this? This art book. John breaks into secret government facilities. Power Stone. Dude, Power Stone's in here. Yeah. Um yeah, it goes really deep. Yeah, yeah, and it's like I get yeah, it's like it reminds me of the exploration based like horror like the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, all those kind of games. Which I think it'd be fun to do a comic like that sometime. That's just like a super deep dungeon. That's the story. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to find what the story is. But that's what I want to do. I want to draw that. John says, anywhere there's electricity, I go. That's kind of an epic quote. If Alex VRB ever does a meme of you, that could be your quote. Jay Krager says, hey, Perry. What's up, Jay Krager? How's it going, man? Good to see you here hanging out. Thanks for being here. We're just talking a little Disintegration Street. We're just kind of chilling and hanging out too. But um, yeah, but maybe we will actually pitch it for a second. Let's see. We'll kill an angel if we have to here or there. If I update it and it doesn't go up, that's what we do. It reloads. So it did. It went up. Somebody pulled the trigger. That's what I was saying. And it came up. We were talking. There's a big difference between pulling the trigger and pulling the plug. Pulling the plug is bad. Pulling the trigger is good, depending on the context. If the context is bad, then pulling the plug is good. Pulling the trigger bad in that case. But in this case, we want to pull the trigger on this nonsense right here. And then so we got 3. Yeah, let's see which one it was. Yeah, it's the all 5 volumes. So we got people taking the plunge. And now it's 5 volumes, it's like this is a big chunk of books right here. Like, yeah, $75 for a big chunk of books, 500-page story. You won't regret it. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of the modern indie era. Sort of just kidding about that. It's one of my favorite books, straight up. That's kind of one reason I'm doing this. I'm just kind of giving it its presents campaign. I didn't create these. Brendan Swan did. The pear pump. Yeah. Yeah. What? Oh, yeah, yeah. Maybe we're switching away from the artist formerly known as Narwhal Nuge. The Nuge formerly known as Pump. The Pump formerly known as Nuge. Is that what this is? Maybe. Okay. So yeah, so that it goes up kind of high with every. So 3 backers. Like, I don't expect the backer number to get super high for this. This is a second chance anyway. So a lot of people who really wanted it already got it. But I know people missed it. We're trying to convince people like, yeah, pull the plug. No, pull the trigger on this series. Big, awesome series will look great on your bookshelf. And yeah, we'll see how high it goes. Just some extra books. So with 3 backers at 5 books for each backing, that's 15 books sold so far too. So that's the numbers go up higher than you'd think. So we're getting out there. We want to get Disintegration Street out there. We want people to know about it. Want people to just be aware it exists, even because I feel like this could open doors for Brendan Swan. Like, I straight up feel like this could be a manga or anime one day or whatever. If I ever get little toes in animation, which I have tried to do, sort of at this point unsuccessfully, but we'll see what doors and how that even works. But I could see in 10 years, like, there's a positive version of my life where I do like become successful and branch out a little bit into animation or something. I would want to like do something with this or with one of Brendan's scripts, if not multiples, because I really liked when he wrote for me too. I like this so much I hired him to write something for me. It was great what he wrote for me. But yeah, so Disintegration Street. If you're pitching it, it's like, one thing is the tone. It's funny, but it's horror, but it's a great mystery. But another thing, Brendan said it was inspired more by music than by anything else. It's inspired by a David Bowie song, I think. So it's got this surreal aspect to it, which I can associate kind of with a certain type of manga. I can definitely do that, where it just is kind of can be a little weird, but it does this overarching mysteries, keeping everything together and keeping it grounded. And then within the world, things do kind of operate fairly realistically, which adds to a lot of the comedy. Like, there's a little subplot where the main girl is trying to be trying to make a little extra cash. She's trying to decide how to do it, and that's like pretty hilarious. Um, but yeah, but yeah, she appears in Disintegration Street, and it's like this town that kind of like no one leaves from, no one comes from. That's its own subgenre too. I'm trying to think like, do you guys ever read? There's a Haruki Murakami, I think his name is, pretty famous Japanese author, writes some cool sci-fi books, and then he wrote something called Hard Boiled Wonderland. And in that, there's two plots. One is like a Philip K. Dick science fiction plot that's just awesome. Like, what is it? It's kind of just like cyberpunk almost. Super awesome. Then the other plot is it's this town like an old town that lives in this forest, and the forest has like deep in the forest is like a little hut, and to the side is a waterfall, and everything in the town is symbolic, and everything that happens in the town is like it's like dream logic. And I can't remember. I want to reread it now. I'm talking about it, but I think the main character does get to like kind of bounce off things and affect fate in this, and it might sort of represent like a human brain is like this town, and that's what it's like, this world within a world, and I forget what they can call that too. If they do that, it is sometimes you could say it's liminal a little bit, like a liminal kind of, like Silent Hill is like that actually. That's why I say this is like Silent Hill. So Silent Hill, like a ghost town that appears out of nowhere. You find yourself there. You don't go to it. You stumble into it. You could be at the top of a mountain, come down the mountain across the country. You come down and you step into Silent Hill if it's like your time to enter Silent Hill. Like if something in your life is happening where, yeah, no, this ghost town is like for you, because Silent Hill is like all about confronting your own demons. But if you have demons, if you have this curse that you've kind of put upon yourself that needs to get wrapped up, then you will find yourself in Silent Hill. And that's like kind of like Disintegration Street. So Disintegration Street is this town. And yeah, it's like no one goes in, no one leaves. If people appear, they don't quite know where they came from. And it's almost like waking up out of a dream or whatever. So the main girl, Charlotte, she kind of wakes up out of a dream into Silent Hill, and or into Disintegration Street, and then like kind of starts to get the lay of the land of what's happening and going about trying to figure out. And the main mystery of how it all starts is kids are disappearing and they don't know. Nobody seems to care, and that's weirding them out too. They find out it's been happening a long time, so they're people are like, yeah, when the kids turn 3, they get spirited away. We don't know. It's just been happening so for so long. Like we tried to stop it, we couldn't. Now we just kind of live with it, and that's where kind of the story starts. And that's cool. That's a really fun, like Mongo does that too, where I feel like the Western way that to do it that I would imagine in my head is like, what, the kids are disappearing? Like we got to do something, like kill them now, find, track them, follow them, put a beeper on them so we know where they go and get them. And then the Mongo way is like, yeah, we did all that. It didn't work. Now we don't do anything. We don't know. That's kind of the mystery if you're doing the Shaggy Dog story too, because it's a little bit like, okay, where do you start? Like a Western way was like, my daughter got kidnapped. I'm going after you or her. Are you with me or are you against me? And people are like, I'm with you. And like, all right, we'll get a posse together. We're going. We're leaving tomorrow. Blah blah blah. Like off and running, moving fast. Blah blah blah. Or like manga style, which is, in my opinion, a little better. Or like at least it's apples to oranges, or what kind of mood you're in. But this kind of more fun way to get to a Shaggy Dog mystery, where it's like, yeah, we kind of already did all that. It didn't work. Now we don't know what to do. So you're here. What do you want to do? Like, there's a town. Do you want to like look around? Do you want to talk to the mayor? Like, you could ask him, see if anything's going on. So like that's kind of like how the story goes. And then a bunch of crazy stuff happens, and it's all fun, lots of jokes. But still, the great mystery story in there. And even within that, there's some fun, like horror elements too. The horror is weird though. It's because it's similar to Silent Hill with the kind of like psychological horror, the dream town, ghost town kind of thing. I don't know. Dreamtown Ghost Town is like another subgenre. Should I tweet that out too? That's a ridiculous tweet. I don't know. Panda, isn't that just a regular pimp? Subgenre of the day. Yeah. All right. So, sexy techie. Dabble into Hellboy much? From 505. Oh, that was pretty recently. Are you talking to me about reading Hellboy? I read Hellboy in Hell, and that was borderline life changing. That was so great. That was the first Magnola thing I ever read, and I think that was kind of way ish later, where he was getting even more like doubling down on his style, even more esoteric or whatever. Esoteric, the right word? I don't know with his stuff. But I love that one, and I bought one other one that's pretty good, but I oddly enough just haven't finished it. I've kind of been reading other stuff. I think that one's called The Conquering Worm. But it's funny. I look for him in the shop when I go, and I'll pick up a lot of Hellboy books, and then Mike Mignola didn't draw them, so then I don't buy them because it's weird. I only like it if he draws it, and I'm sure that some of them have pretty good art, or but I kind of just want to read what he draws. Actually, I wonder even for myself, uh, thinking about that with future Earthbound stuff. Because I do eventually, I would be fun if Earthbound expanded out enough that I'd be working with other artists, but um, that could be one that maybe I should just draw everything because that was my first book, kind of my most iconic one that's tied to me or whatever. I wonder if anyone in the future looking back, they're like, yeah, I read Earthbound, but I don't read the ones that are drawn by other people. Oh, we love you, see yours. Yeah, you know what's funny? So with like kind of the one big break with Vatican City, it did get me thinking like, oh, I wonder if there is some like mainstream books I could draw or whatever. Um, and one of them is Judge Dredd. The only problem with that is I probably wouldn't want to write it, but I feel like only British people can draw that, or like maybe they're only allowed to. You know what I mean? So that's one issue. Another one that kind of was thinking is Plastic Man, but I would only want to do that if like I had a really good story that either I wrote or someone else wrote it, but it'd have to be really good. Then maybe Plastic Man would be a fun random one. And then if I ever got like a foot in the door with Dark Horse or like a second foot, because Vatican City almost counts as a foot, but they have a bunch of IPs. I'm like, wonder if I could work on an IP that they have and what IP I'd want to work on if I could. Uh, and I don't know, but I kind of lose track of what ones they have. But like I think they might have Aliens and Planet of the Apes. I was like, man, it could be cool. I'd do a Planet of the Apes story if they would ever let me. That'd be fun. Crenshaw is pacing. Mignola, yeah, I think it is awesome. Modern Plastic Man, it's opposite of Joe Cole's Plastic. Yeah, I watched some YouTube on it because I did a little research when I thought that, and I read a few books. The one reason is because I like Kyle Baker a lot, and I know he did a run on Plastic Man that's really, really cartoony. And I started reading that, and I didn't finish it, but it's not necessarily because it was bad, but it actually wasn't like amazing necessarily. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood. But I was like, oh, Plastic Man kind of fits with that '90s cartoony style. Like, wonder if you could do that. But on the YouTube I watched, they were saying like, yeah, early Plastic Man was like kind of goofy and comedic, and then I think Grant Morrison or someone had written him almost more as like a horror style character, either because he's like so OP that it's like threatening to other people, like existentially threatening. And I think what happens to him is fate is in a way existentially packed with existential dread. I think he gets like uh, frozen and smashed into a million pieces for 1,000 years. He exists in a million pieces, and his brain is fragmented, so he can't think because his brain got separated. So he's just like in pain for 1,000 years, and then when he does come back from that, he finally like is able to be reassembled or whatever. And he has so much trauma that he just doesn't want to do anything. And I don't know, it's kind of funny. It's like definitely a funny direction. Or not, I don't, funny's not the right word necessarily, but Edwin, what's up, man? Animal Man. You think I could draw Animal Man? I read some of Grant Morrison, Animal Man. I have that book, and it was good. You know what one I read that was pretty great was Concrete. You guys remember that one from the 80s? John, do you remember that one? That was got recommended in an interview by Brian K. Vaughan, where there was a phase where he was my favorite writer, and then he recommended that. I read that. I was like, I can see this influencing the influence of Brian K. Vaughan. But I really like Concrete, but I've only read two trades of it, I think, and I think there's quite a few. I don't know. Yeah, John says Concrete is amazing. Yeah, that one. I feel like it has some kind of clout or whatever too. Like I don't know. It doesn't get thrown around too much, but the one a lot of people throw around is Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. People say that's amazing. And you know what? I bought that, but somehow lost my copy. So I don't know where it is, and I don't want to rebuy it, but I'll rebuy it eventually. It's a bummer that happened. Oh, our next team up. Oh, I could be down. That'd be fun, and I could reread one of the ones that I've got or buy a new one. Um, yeah, yeah. Why the Last Man was one of the first comics I read that was kind of addictive. I lived with a guy who had every volume, and that was a pretty fun way to experience it. So I remember like, damn, like this comic made me read so many pages so fast. How did he do that? And it was good like inspiration of like writing addiction. How do you make the reader addicted to your story? I still don't know exactly how you do that, but some of that happens like naturally if you just tell a good story that's long. If it's super long, that will kind of happen. Because actually, I have thought a little bit about this. There's kind of two ways that of like the way that we think of addiction with like media or whatever with stories. One is like say like Seinfeld. Say like you get addicted to Seinfeld. You're just like it's actually not binging. It's like every night or whatever. You like I kind of feel like an episode of Seinfeld. So you'll throw it on, and that'll happen for like a year until you maybe finish. And it's because every time it's like tried and true. It's giving you the emotional response you want, which is just like some laughter or whatever, appreciation of the world, to kind of visit that world or whatever. But that is not the binging kind of addiction of I need to know what happens next. I need to know how the story ends. Seinfeld, the story ends every night, so there's no addiction in that regards. The addiction is all just this like bite-sized morsels that you don't want to end. So that's one thing. Then the other thing, and I wonder if you could do both, but the other type of addiction is more like maybe it's I don't know if Game of Thrones, maybe Game of Thrones is a little bit of both, but that's where you have a long story where yeah, it's firing on all cylinders. It's like building to this crazy climax that you just got to see what's going to happen. You got to see how it's going to end. Can't wait or whatever, that kind of thing. James Rockin, what's up? Show about nothing sure does work. Walking Dead Alien one shot. I haven't. I should check that out. Sounds like a dark time in the Per Berg story. I live with a guy who had all the Wild Last Man books. Yeah, actually, that was not even. Yeah, pros and cons, but that roommate, it didn't end well. It was annoying. I didn't. I didn't respect him, and I don't know. He probably didn't respect me. I don't know. We didn't get along by the end. But there was in the that was the it was the early days. We lived together for about a year. We were sick of each other by the end, whatever. But kind of because we were both depressed. It's hard for two depressed men, or not. Not, I was never like super depressed, but just like not everything going as well as you hope or whatever. That was I was in Iowa then. It was Iowa winter, terrible. I remember one time for the example of like living in Iowa. God damn, there's some funny things about it, but one of them was like the winters are so terrible, and I was out of food, so I had to go to the grocery store, and I didn't have a car, so I had to walk. But the grocery store is walking distance, just a half mile. It's down the main road or whatever. Then you're at the grocery store. I actually worked there for a little bit while I was in Iowa. That's one of the jobs I had. Um, but at this point, I didn't work there. But yeah, I need to go get food because I'm out of food. But I start walking, and it's windy, and the wind chill's making it like -50. So I was walking backwards, so with the hood on, so the wind, because if the wind blew into my hood or just my face, your nose falls off. And so I start walking, and I'm like I kind of started to panic because I was like, you definitely die in this weather. Just breathing it, I can feel myself getting pneumonia. I can feel my lungs freezing from the cold air coming in. So I turned around, I went home, and I was like, I can't even get food. So I spent a day. I did have some top ramen, so I ate top ramen for a day. It was better the next day, and I went. But I was like, man, that's weird. That's a freaking weird example of living in your mid 20s trying to get by, whatever, mid to late 20s trying to get by kind of stuff. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of it. There was one. It was so cold for a while that I would sleep with my pants on, and I slept one night and I had change in my pocket, and I woke up the next day, just hop right up. I don't even need to change or just keep going. But in the middle of the day, a penny fell out of my ass because I guess somehow when I was sleeping, the change from my pocket, because I slept with my pants on, had got in my ass. And then I was walking around the next day and this penny fell out of my ass. I was like, damn, pennies falling out of my ass. Fucking can't get to the grocery store because it's too cold. What the fuck is my life? Live with a guy with a huge collection of Y the Last Man. Yeah. John Stoner, bolster your top ramen with spring onions and boiled potatoes. Oh, that sounds good. I've been getting into cooking potatoes lately, so um, but yeah, uh, I might have to wrap up here. We're going over an hour. What do we got? Can we update it? I think we might kill. It might be too much to ask to go live and get another backer. But everyone, if you're thinking about it, Disintegration Street. It's weird because this is one of those ones where like, yeah, I can kind of start describing the story, and then what happens and some stuff that happens, and there's 5 volumes of stuff that happens, and I'm like, I don't know, you guys should just read it. It's awesome. But yeah, it's this mystery. The kids are disappearing. They have to investigate. Lots of characters. It's got it's almost got like a Scooby Doo kind of thing, but that it's more like manga version of that. Um, but it has like good guys, bad guys, people up to stuff, up to no good. And yeah, it's the interesting mix of tones I really appreciate because it's very funny, but also like the horror is sweet, the psychological stuff, kind of creepiness, everything. Um, Johnstone. So I put ends on both 5 volume set and a Dreamcast art book. Does that mean you what's put ends on? Did you back it? Thanks if you did, John. You won't regret it. You'll love it. And it means me my pitch worked. Yay. Yay. Is your Nosferatu still available? There might be a few on my eBay. Um which is if you search like Narwhal Comics eBay, it'll come up. But if it's not there, that's the only place to get it right now. Oh, you got it, John. Thanks, man. Let's update it and see. Unless you were the third. What? Whoa, we got 5 backers. We got 2 more. So we've got 3 in the last hour. That's crazy, guys. That's awesome. Um, yeah. Sark says eBay store has it. Yeah, have a gander. And yeah, Sexy Texy, take a look at this one. If you like my stuff, you'll love this. This is arguably better than my stuff, and this is finished. And I have some finished books too, but I think this is 500 pages. Like Earthbound Volume 1 is 240 pages, so this is like epic, a lot of stuff, a lot of fun. Cool. But yeah, kind of wrapping up. I want to go live again. We'll keep pitching it, but I think definitely Thursday, with Creative Block. I'll also be streaming with Arvid on Thursday. We're gonna check out his campaign is doing amazing, which is a lot of fun to see. And that book looks great. I read part 1, obviously, it's awesome. But yeah, that one's a great deal. Check that one out if you haven't. Check out Emily Brooks Miller's book Bird Dad. Everyone check that one out. Alex, if you could post the link for that just a second here too. Bird Dad. Everyone should consider getting that one. Alex backed that one, I'm pretty sure. He's a fellow backer with me. We both back Bird Dad. Um, but yeah, full series. The Dreamcast, John Snowden. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you got the Dreamcast book. It's awesome. Thanks, man. Thanks for backing everyone who backed. Thank you. And yeah, I'm kind of yeah, Bird Dad. I'm kind of getting ready here, getting ready to get on out of here. So I'm gonna click the button here, and then I will see you guys later. Thanks for being here. 24 people watching. Thank you so much. Disintegration Street. Let's do